MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, got some heat this week from the D&D community after tweeting a gym selfie with the line, "I don't play Dungeons and Dragons." He claimed that he got tons of death threats as a result, which I'm sure he didn't, but it's still funny to think that maybe he did. He did get bombarded by tweets, though, from people who do play D&D, who seem to be very offended, not realizing that he's a heel, saying heelish things, so kayfabe lives on with non-wrestling fans at least. Actually, you know what? After this Kenny Omega reaction this week, it's clear that it lives on with wrestling fans, too. But I think it's brilliant. You know, my buddy messaged me on Facebook, shout out to Pete, to tell me that MJF, he's all over gaming Twitter. Is gaming Twitter, by the way, I've not heard of gaming Twitter before. Is gaming Twitter as toxic as wrestling Twitter? Is one more toxic than the other? I mean, it'd be hard to top the toxicity of wrestling Twitter. But maybe it is, I don't know. But he said that he's been all over gaming Twitter and Reddit and RPG news websites. That's a couple of million people right there. And he said the audience for D&D alone is at an all-time high right now. And if even 1% of those people tune into AEW, he just added tens of thousands of new eyeballs to the product. Now, I doubt those people are going to suddenly become wrestling fans if they aren't already. But hey, it can never hurt to get new eyes on a new product. They need to have a segment, though. They have to have a segment on that first TNT show. Supposedly they don't have writers. That's what Cody said early on. We're not going to have a team of writers. So I don't know how this is going to work in terms of skits and backstage segments and stuff. And maybe it's just a bunch of them, all the VPs, all the executive VPs, and Tony Khan sitting in a room just batting around ideas. But they have to have a series of segments on that first TNT show. Do it backstage throughout the night, and just keep cutting back to it between matches with, MJF, he has seen the light. MJF has seen the light, and he wants to apologize to the D&D community, and he gathered up a bunch of plants who are supposedly D&D players to teach him and show him how to play. And as the show goes on, he's getting more and more into it, and the game is getting more intense and more involved, until finally he just wipes out the whole board, he ruins the game, throws it against the wall or something, calls them all nerds, beats them up, because he's a dick. And that's the kind of thing a dick would do. And I used to play Dungeons and Dragons when I was a kid. In fact, I still have the game board. It's got to be in the closet somewhere. I remember I had a little velvet pouch with all of my dice to go with it. You had square dice, you had triangular dice, you had circular dice, Andrew Dice Clay. You had all these different types of dice. I mean, damned if I remember what the hell they were for. I mean, I vaguely remember spells and potions and clerics and shit. Which sounds like a great title for an idiot's guide to Dungeons and Dragons if I wanted to write that book. But I think, I'm pretty sure there's a handbook up there with it of how to play. Maybe I'll dig it out later. It's got to be, 25 years since I last played, maybe a little more. I think it's been around since the 70s, so it's been around for a long time. But it's been a long time since I played. When I started playing, a lot of parents would not let their kids play. It's kind of a big controversy at the time. They wouldn't let their kids play because they thought that the game was turning kids into Satan worshippers. They thought the game was satanic. They really did. They thought the game was satanic. They would not allow their kids to play. My parents didn't give a shit because, they were cool. They weren't uptight like other people's parents. And I turned out pretty well, I think, right? I don't worship the devil. I may be devilishly handsome, but that doesn't mean I worship the devil.